Well, friends, every play has a story. स्टोरी तो मांगता ही है ना बॉस। तो तो क्या है स्टोरी पिग्मेलियन की? बेसिकली पिग्मेलियन इज अ स्टोरी ऑफ अ फ्लावर गर्ल and name of that flower girl is Eliza Doolittle. She is not having the accent that ought to be as per the upper class people. She speaks in Cockney accent, you can say. Actually, this type of accent is a bit heavy one and not an easy one to understand. You can you can compare this with the different accents you find in your areas. like like Kolhapuri is different, Audi is different, Gujarati is different, Malayalam is different. Even you can think that of English language as well. For example, the way English is used in Eugene O'Neill's play Desire Under the Elms. Anyways, it is said that the accent and the language changes after a certain geographical area. The language and the accent used by the flower girl Eliza is usually used by the people belonging to the lower strata of the society. This Eliza meets a man by name Professor Higgins, who is who is arrogant and belong to the higher class. After listening to Eliza, Professor Higgins Professor Higgins takes up a challenge that he will change her accent and bring in her the pronunciation, the phonetic correctness, and finally would make Eliza to be like a lady belonging to the upper class, where nobody would understand that she belongs to the lower class of the society. Bernard Shaw makes several points in this bit of a professor. Basic of these are: is language spoken by the upper class society should be considered as a standard language. Do the languages spoken in different accents be considered to be languages, no languages at all? Can the status of a person or goodness of a person would be decided by the kind of a language a person uses? There are several other issues Bernard Shaw addresses, but we can discuss it in different episode. So let us come back to the story. For number of months, this Professor Higgins trains this Eliza about how to speak correctly. He gets a chance to taste her. Professor Higgins tells Mrs. Higgins, that is his mother, that Eliza would accompany her. Just, just sit and speak a little, in which he would. He would understand the effect of his teachings. Though nothing great has happened, nothing great has been achieved, nobody from the guests has identified Eliza as the flower girl. Months pass. One night, Eliza Higgins and Colonel Pickering return to Higgins' house after a garden party. Surprisingly, Eliza has passed as a wealthy lady. Everybody has taken her not, not as a flower girl, but considered her as the wealthy lady. This incident was a sort of a winning bet for Professor Higgins. When these two people talk about the bet and how she was an experimenting girl for Professor Higgins, Eliza obviously did not like it. To Professor Higgins, the usefulness of Eliza was over. At least he thinks so. He had been successful in transforming Eliza as a lady belonging to the upper class, but to Eliza Doolittle, her use as an experimenting girl in the laboratory of Professor Higgins is a bit worrisome. She feels maybe Mr. Pickering can get her a new job. Maybe. Maybe she would get married to a wealthy person and lead a comfortable life. But to Eliza, this is no better than a mere prostitution. And she rejects the idea given to her by Professor Higgins. Even Eliza seeks permission from Professor Higgins to take the clothes she was actually given. This really offends Professor Higgins. Her words were wounding him to the heart. Bernard Shaw sows a seed of the next happening in the plot. Very smart. In Act number 5, we find that Mrs. Higgins, mother of Professor Higgins, is shown a lady who cares for Eliza Doolittle. On the contrary, we see that Professor Higgins and Pickering treat Eliza as an object. After telling by her son, Professor Higgins, that Eliza has run away, Mrs. Higgins tells her son to calm down. She takes side of Eliza and even tells her son that Eliza has a right to leave the house when she wants to. Mrs. Higgins even is upset with Pickering that informing police is like, it is like treating Eliza like an object, like a lost umbrella. At this point, we find there enters a man, Mr. Doolittle, who is actually father of Eliza. He is dressed like a gentleman. Mr. Doolittle and Professor Higgins had some confusion over Ezra D. Van Feller, America's wealthy person. Mr. Doolittle is worried about the fact that he had to follow the middle class manners. Eliza had been very polite to Professor Higgins in spite of the other being so rude. She has been polite to Mr. Pickering as well. She tells Mr. Pickering that she was grateful to him for teaching proper manners. To Eliza, the real difference between a flower girl and a lady is in the behavior. In the treatment, Mr. Doolittle announces to her daughter, Eliza, that he is marrying her stepmother. He invites Eliza to attend the marriage ceremony. Mr. Pickering asks Eliza to forgive Professor Higgins for his rude behavior. He requests Eliza to come back to Professor Higgins. But Eliza says that he wants her back so that she will pick up things for him. At this point, Professor Higgins expects Eliza to marry Mr. Pickering. But Eliza thinks she would rather marry Freddie, who had been writing love letters to her all these days. Freddie cares for Eliza a lot, and that is what she wants. Professor Higgins expects not his masterpiece, his creation, to be thrown to a person like Freddie, when Eliza could marry an ambassador or someone similar of that kind. Eliza has realized by this time that She cannot be under any man. Instead, she would become a phonetics teacher instead of being under any man. Her sense of self respect, her knowledge about what she has learned is a matter of pride for Professor Higgins. He understands that Eliza has become a clever girl. Eliza is ready to leave for her father's wedding. Why? She is going. Professor Higgins asked her to buy some groceries from the shop, which Eliza straightway denies and asks him to buy the things for himself. Professor somewhere knows that she will buy the things for him. The play ends and spectators go on assuming whether Eliza will come back to Professor Higgins. Bernard Shaw's main occasion was to address the question because he considered a stage to be a school like from where a kind of awareness can be built in the society. We would definitely see some of the key aspects of Pygmalion and try to understand what Mr. Shaw points out. Anyways, thanks for watching and being with me. I request you to please comment, of course, subscribe my channel DMS Underlines and ask your friends to subscribe. अच्छा लगता है यार, अच्छा लगता है. If there are some questions, please comment in the comment box. I would definitely try to reply them within my capacity. Hope you will continue to remain in touch. Thank you. God bless.